In 2021, the payment processing company Stripe became the most valuable US startup. Stripe was founded by Patrick and John Collison, Irish Europeans who had a valuable idea but had to come to the United States to make it come to life. In the same year, the software company UiPath also became regarded as one of America's fastest growing companies. UiPath was founded by Daniel Dinez and Marius Turca, two Romanian Europeans who founded their company in Bucharest but are now headquartered in the US. Again, and also in the same year, Databricks also became regarded as one of America's fastest growing companies. Although founded by multiple people, Databricks was co-founded by Ali Ghodsi, a Swede, and Ion Soica, a Romanian. Stripe, UiPath, and Databricks are three examples of extremely valuable companies that reflect an overall trend. Many driven Europeans who are creating very valuable companies are doing it in the United States. In fact, I would go as far to say that these examples reflect a larger problem, that Europe loses valuable innovation to the United States, and Europe experiences one of the largest brain drains on the planet. Venture capital allows investors to help support businesses that are expected to have future growth but aren't large enough to generate it on their own. Although Europe experiences problems with developing enough startup companies to begin with, which is a topic for a later video, it's the later stage funding where Europe primarily experiences a weakening connection with its founding companies. Late-stage funding for startups is overwhelmingly provided by the United States and foreign financiers. This not only shifts responsibility to investors outside of Europe, but it also produces a dynamic where many European startups will leave Europe in order to go to the US before receiving later-stage funding. When European startups exit, it's almost a 50-50 chance where they'll end up. From 2012 to 2016, the Startup Europe Partnership found that around 44% of European startups were acquired by US companies. And this means that in the same time period, US companies practically acquired as many European startups as European companies did. An acquisition by a US company means that the original startup's main shares are bought up, and it is now part of a company that is skewed towards maximizing the value of American shareholders. Immigrants born in Europe are over 5 times more likely to have created an innovation in America compared to the average native-born US citizen. Although it has been changing, Europe has lost many gifted scientists to the US in the past, and there are many graduate students who complete their studies outside of Europe in the US, and many of them do not come back. On June 4th, 2021, Patrick Collison tweeted, "The good news is that EU tech is really starting to bloom." It's only a few characters, but he's completely right. On the 9th of April, the European Commission opened up the European Innovation Council Accelerator, which is tasked with providing investment and funding for startups. By June of this year, around 2,000 companies had applied for funding, which amounted to more than 4 times the 1.1 billion euros the fund could initially give. This could be seen as both a good and a bad thing. There's clearly a demand for funding European-based startups, but it's not clear if there will be an increase in the accelerator's budget to match that demand for boosting innovation on European soil. There are, however, other positive indications. Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, pledged $1.2 billion of his personal fortune to fund deep tech startups from Europe. Business-to-business startups, companies like Deliveroo, have been outperforming their American counterparts, and venture capital in Europe has been increasing every year alongside late-stage funding, and European companies are staying private and independent longer than ever before. Whether Europe will eventually become the most innovative region on the planet and keep very ambitious Europeans on home soil is a question that a few college students with a small YouTube channel cannot tell you. However, we can tell you with absolute certainty that it would be a lie to say that Europe lacks the potential.